Welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining us on our virtual event. I'm so sorry that we're not able to do it in person because it is such a lovely opportunity to talk to you about our ethos and our communication and how we communicate with our stakeholders, and then have the opportunity as an SLT to meet with you and mingle with you for half an hour. And I'm so sorry we can't do that. As a result of our discussions with Public Health yesterday, they said it's best not to, but I do hope that after half term, when we can hopefully mingle again, we'll have the opportunity to be able to meet with the new members of staff as an SLT and start up some of those conversations. I know I have spoken to most of you since the start of term. I do hope that you're settling in well. Talking to people who are line managing you, you seem to have settled in extremely well. But if there is ever anything, please do make sure you see your line manager or a member of SLT. Our doors are always open, but a welcome again to the school. In the session this evening, we'll only be together probably for about 30 minutes, and Sarah and I will talk to you. Sarah Stockdale, who is our our lead for communications and marketing, and also sits on the SLT this year, is going to talk to you about our communication and marketing strategy. And I'm just going to give you a little bit of an overview of the ethos of the school and the common language that we use. And I suppose the rationale behind doing this is because we are a school first and foremost, and we are here to increase and enhance the life chances of the young people that come through our doors. But also, as an independent school, we are a business as well. And without looking at ourselves as a business, if we don't get the business side of it right, then we don't get the pupils through the door, and we no longer have a school. So we have to have a very robust ethos that we all buy into, and we all communicate using the same sort of language. You will know from the calendar at present and the communications that I've been having with staff, this term particularly, we have many open events where we invite hundreds of families through the school, and in any normal year we have approximately 650 girls who sit the entrance exam for the senior school. We're oversubscribed in the girls prep school, and in the boys school we're building the numbers in there. There is still some capacity in the boys prep, but certainly for the girls across the prep school and the senior school we absolutely are at capacity. But in order to stay at capacity, we need to be able to communicate and articulate what our aims and ethos are, and have that real common language across all stakeholders in the school. So the purpose behind this brief discussion this evening is just to ensure that you are aware of what our school ethos is. You will know that ingrained in everything that we do, we have our school motto, may love always leaders. But sitting alongside that, we also talk about inspiring, encouraging and empowering the young people that come through our doors. So that language is language that we often revert back to, whether it's through our open events, whether it's through our language when we're writing reports, in discussion with parents, in discussion with the girls and other stakeholders such as governors and United Learning. We use inspire, encourage and empower. And you can see on there what the aim of the school is. So we are providing something that's intellectually rigorous and challenging, but we're also balancing those three pillars of the academic with the pastoral care or the well-being with the co-curricular opportunities. So if you are asked a question by a prospective parent and or pupil, what a Surbiton is all about, then if you can refer back to those three pillars and getting the balance right between the three pillars of the curriculum, the co-curricular and the well-being, and front and centre of that increasingly is the well-being of the child within the school. And I hope that you've seen that over the course of the last 4 weeks. And then running alongside that is that academic rigour, and you'll have seen that academic rigour hopefully when you've been in classrooms talking to the girls, or for those support staff as you're going around the school. So what you have here is our ethos, and we have to have, and we do have, a school policy which outlines our aims and ethos as a school. And you'll see within our ethos, which was rewritten a couple of years ago, when I first started, we rewrote it in the January of 2018. We have those keywords again: inspire, encourage and empower. I'm not going to read through that for you, but that's the ethos of the school, and that's the language that we use, and that's hopefully what you've seen in the classrooms and in the corridors and with the staff. So may love always leaders, and those things that are there. And then we're often asked what a Surbiton pupil looks and feels like. And at our open events, we have one of our sixth form pupils who articulates what their time at Surbiton has given them. We do say there is no one type of Surbiton pupil. We are a school where in year 7 the girls sit an entrance exam in order to gain a place, but also we're a school where a child can start with us in reception and move all the way up to year 13, which doesn't make us hugely academically selective. We are academically selective in the year 7 cohort, but we also have all those girls that come through from the prep school that we've taken in age 3 when we don't know what their academic ability is going to be. And therefore that makes our profile quite a different profile from a school like LEH, which is more academically selective. So that's always something to bear in mind, that you will have the very high ability, but you'll also have girls who struggle and will get 5 and 6s at GCSE, but we celebrate equally those girls who are just passing their GCSEs as we do those girls who are getting 9s and go on to get A stars at A level. And actually the value add that we give to the pupils is what we celebrate more than anything else. And the value added at A level and GCSE is normally +1, so it's 1 grade higher than they would have got had they been elsewhere. But it's worth bearing in mind that that academic profile is definitely a bell-shaped curve. Just go back again, John. And then some of the other things that we talk about are all of the things that you can see on there. So we're looking at enabling confident, empowered, creative, enthusiastic, ambitious pupils as they come through the school. And those values that we redefined at the start of the year obviously will weave their way into that when we pull that piece of work together. And then sitting behind everything that we do, and if you just want to move on to the next slide, John, is our strategic plan. And there are 5 parts to that strategic plan. Again, I'm not going to go through every part, but that is on MIS. You can have a look at that, but that underpins the direction of travel. And I suppose the most important one is our, if you just move on, our learning innovation. So this is where, as a staff, not just as a teaching staff, but as a support staff, we absolutely are an organisation where we're developing a culture of research. So we're looking for you as members of teaching staff and support staff to look at what we can do, not just in learning and teaching, but across our organisation, to benefit change, to enhance change, to prepare for the next thing on the horizon. And then also sitting in there is our wellbeing agenda. John's rattling through these, our wellbeing agenda, and hopefully you've seen that as a member of staff, that again sits front and centre of what we do, not just for the girls and boys in the school, but also for the staff in the school. And then communication is our 4th element, which Sarah's going to talk to you about in a moment. And then finance is the last area of our strategic plan. But that is on MIS if you want to go back and have a look at that. I strongly suggest if you have a free 30 minutes anytime when we're doing an open event, which the talks tend to start about 10 o'clock, that you pop along to the main hall and try and sit in on one of those where you will hear I talk about the ethos of the school, but Hannah and Matt also talk about the well-being and the academic pillars of the school. So it's worth coming into one of those if you want to hear more. I realise that's very much a whistle-stop tour of our ethos and our aims. But if there is anything else, then please pop in and see me. I know that Josie and Fiona, my PAs, are organising some events for you to come in small groups and have break time with me so that I can get some feedback on how well you settled in, areas that we can do better with regards to your transition into Surbiton High School. So I very much look forward to meeting you at one of those coffee mornings. Sarah.
Great, thanks, Rebecca. Just following on from what Rebecca said, I'll send out a video copy of one of the open events that we recorded recently as well, so if it suits you more with a coffee or a cup of tea at home, you are more than welcome to watch it in your own time. I just wanted to spend a few minutes talking to you about communication from your perspective really, and the importance of how we communicate with our parents and pupils. Rebecca's taken you through how we communicate externally as a school, and I just wanted to look a bit more personally for you. I'm very much at the business end of the school, which is quite alien to the majority of your roles. However, in my role as head of communications, it's vital that as a whole school we place great emphasis on the importance of communication being timely and correct with both parents and pupils. And in any other industry, I have always referred to our prospects as being customers, but that's not language that any of you would be used to using, and it's probably quite abhorrent to most of you in teaching roles. But that's very much the end of the kind of school that we're at. We very much aim for gold standard service here at Surbiton High School. We're in an independent school that parents do forego a lot of their salary potentially to put their children through private school. They're not necessarily coming from the point of view of having lots of cash around to just afford independent school, and so that puts more pressure on, I think, their expectations from us as a school and their expectations from their daughters as well. And they very much are looking for validation that they've made the right decision in sending their pupils through to Surbiton High School, and that comes through from, obviously a huge element of that is from the teaching side of things, but equally in terms of how we communicate and deal with parents, how we communicate and deal with our pupils as well. And the impact of that and the importance of it from your point of view, I suppose, and where you come into play is obviously you're crucial to that. As a comms team, we do a lot of the external communication in a broader sense, dealing with prospective parents, but you absolutely are at the forefront of the communication with our current parents, with the letters that you're sending out on MAS, with the conversations that you're having daily with our pupils. And it's really just trying to give you a bit of a sense of your role in this, and that actually we're all in this together in terms of promoting the school and promoting the ethos of the school through teaching, through the communication that's sent out, and that does spread further to the wider community. And if you just put, thanks John, word of mouth is absolutely pivotal to the success of the school, and our reputation goes before us. Whenever you speak to parents, whenever we do surveys about how prospective parents have found out about us, it is generally word of mouth that spreads. It's our biggest marketing asset, and it's one that's down to absolutely everybody within the school, and everyone can have an effect on. So please do spend some time, as Rebecca said, reading through some of the information on the website. Try and watch one of the open morning videos, or attend one if you can do. And just in terms of how you can help us, I suppose, in terms of helping that word of mouth, but also extending our communication externally, is by sharing what's going on in the classroom with us as a comms team. We really need to know what you're doing, what's going on, some of the light bulb moments that happen in classrooms, some of the photos that you could potentially take of work going on, or some great science experiments. Unfortunately, we can't as a team. Sorry, my email's going. There we go. Sorry. We can't as a team generate the content without your input. So really do have a think through how you could help us as well. And if you just go on to the next slide, John. Sorry, this slide just shows you some of the stories that have come out of working with staff in the school. So we had we enter quite a few awards every year, and we've been shortlisted for the TESS Best Use of Technology Award this year, which I've worked with James Flynn, who's one of our assistant principals, who you've probably come across by now. We also entered an award for BET for COVID response as well, which was similarly down to the work done during the lockdown. We've worked with Classics Department, getting some press coverage on Parthenon casts, which are hanging in the dining hall. The reflections booklet that you'll see on screen is a publication that we've just finished for the senior school and are just about to go to print with the prep schools, and that really is a whole school project that's had people in each school pulling together different resources of all the great things that have taken place during lockdowns and remote learning and the activities that we've done within the school environment. And it just goes to show we can't do any of this without the teaching staff being behind us and support staff being behind us and helping share what's going on in the school. So please do bear us in mind. If you just move on to the next slide, thanks, John. So just to help you in terms of a few kind of points, you've probably used MIS by now. We have a letter system on there that automatically involves proofing. There's a guide on there that can take you through how to upload, but there's also a style guide that you really do need to acquaint yourself with on MIS. You'll find it under Common Docs, and it's a Word document, but it takes you through some of our proofing guides in terms of The terminology that we use that we don't use in terms of pupils, for instance, are from reception all the way through to year 11, but then we could change to students for year 12 and 13, and just a few of those unusual idiosyncrasies that Surbiton High School use to make sure that you're consistent with the messaging that goes out. Please always be mindful of GDPR, so where you can refrain from putting pupil names and letters, obviously do so. And please follow the letter templates that's on MIS as well. Next slide, please, John. Thank you. Just to touch on social media, we use social media a lot as a school. It's a great marketing tool for us in terms of directing parents to look at the great things that are going on across the 3 schools, and we have a huge number of Twitter handles. We also have 2 Instagram handles, and we have one Facebook handle, and it's a great way of being able to showcase what's happening in the school on a more ad hoc kind of day-to-day basis than you can do on the website. The social media feed through to the website to give it that dynamic content. But in terms of your involvement in that, or in terms of your social media usage personally, just a few do's and don'ts from the school point of view. I'm sure most of you will be aware of these. Please don't befriend any pupils, don't post anything that's negative. Please do ensure you have your privacy settings set up correctly. It's amazing the amount of people that think they have, but actually it's very easy for pupils to access your information if you don't set it up properly. And please don't make it easy for pupils to find you. That says make it easy, but it's please don't make it easy for pupils to find you. If you are looking to share any information on our Twitter handle, please do let us know as a school. If it's going to be sharing anything about the school, then we hold a list of all passwords for Twitter accounts as a school, just as a precaution in case something is posted up that needs to be taken down immediately for some school reason. If you're posting about the school, please use our hashtag SHS, and please do follow the school accounts. The more engagement and conversation we can get going on social media, the better from a school perspective. Thanks, John. And then just one kind of final point, really, I suppose, that is really, really important to bear in mind. Please do not use, please only use your school iPads for photos. Do not use any personal devices. And on MIS, you will probably have already seen, but there are, against pupils' names, there are red camera icons for all those pupils whose images we're not allowed to use. So just please do double check if you're taking photos of any pupils in your class that they're not of pupils that we can't use. And if you've got any concerns, then do just check with the comms team. And finally, just please bear in mind, you are ambassadors for the school. Share any stories with us that you can. We're really reliant on you sharing great content with us, and we're here to try and ensure that we can spread it to the outside world. And enjoy working here. I think it's a great place to be. Hope you're enjoying it so far, and hopefully we'll get to meet in person at some point. Thank you.
If there is anything else to do with media or posting them, please do get in touch with the comms team and Sarah in particular. But as just to reiterate, we're absolutely reliant on staff to feed stories into the comms team so that they can use those stories and push that out on the different social media that we have, and the booklets in-house that we still continue to produce to some extent. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm sorry it was quite short and sweet, and again I apologise for not being able to get together and have drinks, but I hope you found some of that useful. And if there is anything else, please just pop in and see either myself or Sarah. Thank you very much. Are there any questions that have come up, John, just on the chat whilst we're there? I can't see any. I don't think so, are there? No. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a good evening.